This week on the Analog Circle podcast, Nintendo is suing the U.S. government. Oh, man, we definitely have to talk about this. More Resident Evil is on the way, including DLC and more remakes, allegedly. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about that. Xbox doesn't seem like they're getting out of the console gaming space yet because they have confirmed that their next I don't know if you want to call it a console or a PC hybrid. I don't know what the heck this thing is, but they did confirm that it is in development. And PlayStation, oh, I got my eye on you, mother lovers. PlayStation is doing dynamic pricing, and it seems a little shady to me. But all of these stories can be found here and more in episode 276 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Keon Mitchell, and welcome to the show. Come on in, sit down, and relax, because we're going to have a great discussion today. And if you're traveling, hopefully we can accompany you to your destination. Now, with that being said, if you guys want to be a part of the next listener feedback, which I will be recording after this episode drops, you can do so two different ways. You can either call in at 667-284-9057 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is simply the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Now, with that being said, I mentioned it. I talked about it in the intro. Here it is. I want to go over the question of the week, doggone it. And of course, it pertains to Xbox. Project Helix is what they're calling it. Oh, man, because it was most certainly. Now, this is the thing. We all know that the uncertainty when it comes to the Xbox brand this joke has been at an all-time high, especially since Sharma has taken over, since, of course, Phil and Sarah exited stage left. Now, one of the bigger questions has been, will Xbox ever show up for next generation? I had that question. I'm sure a lot of you had the same question. And the answer, once again, it looks to be yes, because Xbox CEO Asha Sharma shared on X that a new console codenamed, and I said it, but let's say it again, Project Helix will, quote, play your Xbox and PC games, end of quote. Now, that's a little questionable. I don't know about that. Now they say play your Xbox and PC games, and that is a quote, end of quote right there. And they plan to share more about what it is and what to expect at GDC, which is actually happening right now. And I want to shout out to Destin Legary. I was looking at his stream a little earlier today. It was a little wonky, but he wasn't, I don't know if he was supposed to be recording. I'm sure he was, but he was recording. It was kind of hard to hear what Jason Ronald was actually saying up on the stage, but he tried to give us the, firsthand look at what was being discussed, but it seemed like midstream he actually had to cut it off. So I don't know what that was about, but definitely shout out to Destin for trying, giving it his best shot. Unfortunately, we just weren't really able to figure out what was going on. But matter of fact, hold on. Now, you know what? Let me bring something up here real quick. I think I took a screenshot of something that he actually showed on his stream. I'm about to bring it up right now. Just bear with me. I got it right here. Okay, so as Jason Ronald, as he was talking on the stage, they actually showed this graphic where it says Project Helix Innovation. And this was on the big screen, as you know, how they do the presentations. You'll have the screen on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, and you'll have the presenter, moving back and forth across the stage. Any of y'all that have seen the earlier E3s before they've turned into what they are today, it was like a big press conference, and these guys look like regular execs giving a real presentation. So just put that in your mind. But on the screen, again, it said Project Helix Innovation. Then it broke it down into different categories. It says plays your Xbox console and PC games. Again, that is a little questionable to me, because what does PC have to do with console gaming? I don't know. Now, they said powered by a custom AMD SoC. And it says, if I can make it out, it says code signed for next generation of DirectX. So I guess it's going to be a new generation of DirectX. It says next gen ray tracing performance and capabilities, which is going to be something that this console / PC hybrid is what I'm going to call it, is going to have. It says GPU directed work graph execution. I have no idea what that means, but okay. And now it breaks it down into another category that says AMD FSR Next, Project Helix. It breaks it down into these different categories. It says built for next generation of neutral rendering. I mean, it sounds cool, but I have no idea what it means. It says next generation ML upscaling. It's going to have new ML multi-frame generation, and it's going to have next gen ray regeneration for RT, which is ray tracing, and path tracing. Oh, now I'm familiar with those terms a little bit. Man, that sounds pretty doggone good. And it says for the last category, which it says deep texture compression. It says natural texture compression, and it says direct storage ZSTD. Whatever that means. I don't know if that's a hard drive or what, because it does say storage, direct storage. So who knows? But those are some of the, not necessarily specs, but let's just say features that looks like are going to be inside of this new Xbox PC hybrid kind of situation. Now, not too long after the screen was shown, that's when Destin Legarie, he pretty much had to cut his stream off. But definitely, before I go any further, man, shout out to him for doing his best to bring us the information hot off the presses. Shout out to you, Destin. That brother was working. He was absolutely working. It was in real time as he was getting this information. So, yeah, he definitely deserved a bomb drop for that. But the thing is, now, since we've got this information, it looks like, and of course, I got to say that Microsoft has not confirmed this. Nobody from the Xbox team has confirmed this. But the word on the street, and I'm sure y'all have heard the same thing, is that this console could cost anywhere between $1,200 to $1,500. What is console / PC hybrid? $1,200 to $1,500. That is insane. Now, this is the thing. We know that the Xbox Series X and S are struggling at the $600 and $700 price point. What do you think is going to happen when you get a console out here that's going to cost that much doggone money?
You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok. This is what he does.
I don't know. I don't know who's rushing out to pay $1,200 to $1,500 for this. This is going to be such a niche product that I don't even know if this thing is going to break 2 or 3 million. In this economy, holy smoke. In this economy, y'all think y'all going to be able to sell a console / PC hybrid for as far up as $1,500?
Y'all killing me with this.
You got to be kidding me. But I want to know. I want to know. I didn't want to make it 12 to 1,500. I said, look, let's try to play at least somewhat fair. Would you be willing to pay $1,000 for this console? Is that something that, well, I'm not calling it a console PC hybrid. That's what I'm calling it. Would you be willing to put up a G knowing that? Now, this is the thing. Now, I didn't write this down, but I do have this story talking about the PlayStation 6. And this report actually came from Twisted Voxel. It was saying that the PlayStation 6, again, this is all just talk. Nobody has confirmed this. Nobody has denied this over at Sony or PlayStation. So definitely take what's being said with a mustard seed of truth. But this is coming from someone who is inside of the gaming hardware perspective of things. Matter of fact, it's Moore's Law is dead. This is coming from him. And we know Moore's Law, this guy has a pretty okay track record. But it's being stated that Sony Interactive Entertainment's next-gen console, the PS6, will easily run most games at 4K and 120 frames per second with ray tracing. It's being claimed ray tracing at 120 frames per second, 4K? 4K! Man, if that is the case, and that's what and that's what's happening, I got to say, man, Xbox, brother.
What you talking about, Willis?
Man, this thing is not going to go anywhere. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. People are going to say $1,000. Who are you? Oh, I know who you are. Oh, you're the console that doesn't have exclusives. Oh, you're the console that doesn't know if it's a PC or a console. You're having a doggone crisis. You're having an identity crisis right now. And you think I'm going to spend how much to play games that I can already play on another platform? Man,
ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
Man, you got to be kidding me. What? Here it is. The PlayStation 5. We already see what this PSSR 2.0 is doing. We already see this thing. Matter of fact, Resident Evil Requiem, Resident Evil 9 has done such a great job that they're saying that the PlayStation 5 Pro, now I'm not going to go as far as some of these outlets talking about, oh man, it's selling out everywhere. Ho. I think you're overreaching. Just a little bit, man. Pump the brakes. Wait a second. I don't know if it's selling out, but they did say it's been an uptick when it comes to people seeing the performance of Resident Evil 9. And if they're doing that already with the PlayStation 5 Pro, imagine what they're going to be able to do with the PS6, and it's going to be possibly a fraction of the price. They're saying the PlayStation 6 might come out to about $600. I don't know if it's going to be $600. I just don't know. I'm a little leery on that, only because of the environment that we have right now. RAM is going up. Everything is so expensive. All of this stuff is high as a doggone cloud in the sky right now. So I don't know if it's going to be 600. It might even be 7. Whew, good gosh. Could you imagine paying $700 though for a PS6? Oh, that makes me very nervous. I don't know. I don't know. But when you compare it to possibly the next Xbox PC hybrid coming out in bare minimum, man, I'm stuttering and everything. Bare minimum being about $1,000, $1,000. 700 sounds a lot better than a G. And I still get to get your games, Xbox. I still get to play them. Doesn't matter if it's day and date. I don't care. I'll just wait on them. Matter of fact. And I'm laughing because, doggone, the game South of Midnight, That's coming out later on this month. As a matter of fact, let me look that up. South of Midnight. South of Midnight. Yeah, because I want to make sure. I want to make sure I saw it correctly. South of Midnight. Yeah, PS5. Let's see. When is this coming out? March. Hold on. South of Midnight. It's coming out on March 31st of this year. So another exclusive that actually did kind of well. It wasn't like super well received, but people said it wasn't bad. That's another new IP, brand new IP, coming to the PlayStation 5, brand new. And you're putting it on the rival console. Oh, wait. Oh, the hurt. Oh, my goodness. Listen, I'm not going to keep getting too long-winded with this question. I feel like I've been there too long as it is. But that is my question. Are you paying $1,000 for this Xbox PC hybrid that's going to be releasing? I'm going to tell you, I ain't paying a doggone thing. I am not getting this Xbox. Are you kidding me? These jokers don't even want to fight. And you think I can support what they got going on, especially for $1,000? Maybe $1,500? Man, you on crack cocaine. Ain't no doggone way. Anyway, man, I can't harp on this much longer. I'm just curious to know your thoughts. If you do want to be a part of the conversation, you know how to do it. You can call in at 667-284-9057 and let me know what you think about this whole situation. Now, who knows? GDC is going on right now. Maybe some information comes out that blows my wig back, blows my whole entire wig off my dome. But I just don't think it's going to be enough, because as long as your games are playable on the PlayStation whatever, I'm not going to go out there and get your Xbox, brother. Not going to do it, buddy. And it would be the same thing with PlayStation. If PlayStation was putting Uncharted, putting God of War, putting The Last of Us, putting Infamous, all of their games, Days Gone, on the Xbox, man, shucks, I would stay put. Leave for what? Man, I'm enjoying my games, and I'm enjoying your games. Oh, man, you got to be kidding me. I'm living in a gaming lap of luxury right now. Oh, man. But anyway, want to get you guys' thoughts, and yeah, let me know how you feel about this whole situation. But with that being said, though, let's go ahead and let's officially get into what we all come here for. And you guys know what it is, the gaming news that went down. So, you know, I was talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro. Oh, man. You know, they had a list that came out about the PlayStation 5 Pro with the PSSR 2.0 and what games are going to get that update. Now, I will say right now, the list reads as follows, and I got to give them their credit. I got this list from MP First. So they got on the list 007 First Light. Very interesting. Brand new game. Ain't even out yet. You got Alan Wake 2. You got Assassin's Creed Shadows. You got Assassin's Creed Mirage, Astrobot, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, Baldur's Gate 3, Battlefield 6. Doggone, wasn't that messed up with EA did over there at Battlefield? Jokers then knocked off some of the people. They done got laid off, and this was a successful game. Crazy times that we living in. You got Black Myth Wukong, Blades of Fire, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Call of Duty Black Ops 7, Control Ultimate Edition, Days Gone Remastered, Demon Souls, Dragon Age The Veilguard, Dragon's Dogma 2, Enlisted, F124, F125, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Frostpunk 2, Gears of War going to take your competition's game and say, guess what? I'm going to treat her better than you do. I'm going to give her an upgrade. Oh, shucks. God damn. Sony is horrible. Oh, these jokers are relentless. They took your game and said, man, you ain't treating her right. You got her in pig shoes and whatnot. I'm going to get her some real leather. I'm going to get her some real leather, get her some nice jewelry, take out of the cubic zirconia and stuff, get her some real diamonds, man. Have her shining out here, doggone it. Got her walking around and doggone run down, overrun shoes and whatnot. Let me go ahead and take care of it. Let me show you how you take care of your games. God, dog. Gears of War Reloaded made the doggone. I'm laughing because this is so sad. This is so sad, man. They taking your games and making them better than you. Holy cow. Man, let me keep going with this list. You got Ghost of Yote, God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, H is Us. You got Senua's Sacrifice, High on Life 2, Hogwarts Legacy, Hunt Showdown 1896, Jurassic World Evolution 3, Karma the Dark World. I have no idea what that is. Marathon is on this list, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Marvel Rivals, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man Remastered, Metal Gear Solid Delta, Monster Hunter Wilds, my first Gran Turismo. What the heck is that? My first Fisher-Price racing game? Have no idea what that is. Naraka Blade Point, Ninja Gaiden 4. Man. Oh, man. You know, Xbox could have kept that game. That could have been exclusive. I believe they put up the the cost for that game, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, though, but who knows? But you got Neo 3, No Man's Sky, Outbreak, Shaders of Horror, Outer Worlds 2, oh shoot, another one. Paladin's Passage, Path of Exile 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, one of my favorite games of this generation. Resident Evil 4 Remake, Resident Evil Requiem, oh, we know about you. Resident Evil Village, Retrieval, Senua's Saga, H-Blade 2, Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill F, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, woo, Star Wars Outlaws, woo, nice. You got even got Stellar Blade, The Crew, Motorfest, The First Descendant, The Last of Us Part 1, Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, Tides of Annihilation, Truck Driver, The American Dream. Oh, man, I guess I'm living the dream, huh? They got Warframe, Warhammer 40K Dark Tide, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, which I believe that's on the premium service. If I'm not mistaken, if you're a PlayStation, I think premium member, you'll be able to get that for free. Fantastic game. Like I said, Gears of War don't watch themselves, man. That Warhammer was serious. Space Marine 2 was amazing. And that game looks awesome on the PlayStation 5 as it is. So, God, dog, it's getting the PSSR 2.0 treatment. That's nuts. And then they have Where Winds Meet. That's the list so far of what's going on with the PSSR 2.0 on the PlayStation 5 Pro, enhancing these games, making them better. That's why, again, if I had the money, $600 or maybe $700 with tax, whatever the case may be, I would probably, it's a good chance, I would upgrade to the PlayStation 5 Pro because it's getting such amazing support from all across the board. I will say, though, I do enjoy getting that leap when it comes to the next generation, which is also a reason why I just kind of stick with the original consoles for that generation. Because when the next generation comes up, I really want to feel like I'm getting that leap and not just a marginal leap. So I might have to walk that back. I don't know if I would get the PlayStation 5 Pro, even if I did have the money. Now that I'm thinking about it from that perspective, I love the surprise of what the next generation is actually bringing. And I feel like that half measure, for me, it kind of takes away from the total experience of upgrading to the next generation. I know some people are going to say that is stupid, Keon. How in the world would you say that? But that's just how I feel, brother. You know, I come from the era where once you had that console out for that generation, that was all you had, and you just rocked out until the next console came out. So I guess I'm still stuck in that old school mentality, but it works for me. Gets me excited for the next generation and what they got coming to the table. But let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story, which I believe I got this next story from WCCF Tech. So you heard me talking about Resident Evil in the introduction. Well, we got some rumors to go over.
Look at all these rumors surrounding me every day.
Now, Insider Dusk Golem has stated that DLC for Resident Evil is in, quote, late development, end of quote, and the DLC will focus on Leon Kennedy. Now, we also stated that he doesn't know how big the DLC will be. So that's a little questionable. Now, we also gave an alleged timeline about other Resident Evil titles that are in development. Now, we said Codename Veronica Remake is the next game to arrive in 2027. Very interesting, man. I think you could only play Codename Veronica, and I think we've talked about this on the Dreamcast, if I'm not mistaken. It might have came to other platforms a little later, but Dreamcast was definitely where I played that game, and I thought it was awesome. So if they're making a Codename Veronica, which we've been hearing about this for quite some time, I think that would be dope. So he's saying that's going to arrive in 2027, which is next year. And Resident Evil O remake is on the docket to release in 2028. Now, he claims it's been in development, Resident Evil, I believe, O. He claims that it's been in development for 3 or 4 years. He also said Resident Evil remake just entered into development. So they're going to remake Resident Evil, the original. Well, he's saying that. Now, we did say, I didn't write this down, but I do remember him saying that could change. But as far as he's heard, that's in early development. Resident Evil remake, the first one, that could be interesting. I don't think anybody would have a problem with it. I just would hope. Now, the thing I would say, because, some games, they age out. And the way that they used to play, it doesn't really go with today's play style. And I would say that Resident Evil would probably be one of those games where you had the pre-fixed camera angles, where you would go into certain areas and it'd be an overhead camera angle. It would be a bottom, like to your feet camera angle, overhead camera angle. I don't think you can do that today. If you're going to do a Resident Evil remake, I think you got to build that joker from the ground up and have it in third person. Third person would be amazing. Now, if they did that and it was just a total remake, I would definitely get that. I think that would be the best way to go. I don't think anybody's going to want to deal with those tank controls in 2030, possibly when this game comes out. So we'll see what happens with this. Of course, this is all rumors because Capcom has not come out to clarify or deny that any of these games are actually in the works. Of course, Resident Evil O remake, I think that was released on the GameCube, I think back in the day, which was interesting because GameCube they were getting exclusives back then. Resident Evil 4, if I'm not mistaken, that was a GameCube exclusive. And I think that game actually made more people buy the GameCube because people were very, very impressed, especially Nintendo back then during the GameCube era, getting a Resident Evil game. Oh my gosh. It was like, whoa, Nintendo is really, really stepping out of their comfort zone, putting an adult-esque game on their platform, especially back then. That was unheard of. So it's great to hear that these games are possibly getting these remakes and that people of a younger generation would be able to experience these games that we've already experienced and enjoyed. And for us to actually see these games updated with the graphics, better voice acting, of today. Y'all remember voice acting back in the 90s. We was just excited. We were just excited that the characters were even talking. I mean, the voice act, if you go back and you listen to some of those clips, man, you want to talk about some voice acting that was rough. Joker said, Jill, where is Jill? Barry, where's Barry? It was terrible. But at that time, we ain't give a doggone. This was absolute gaming cinema. As far as we were concerned, man, these jokers talking, having a real conversation. Oh, shucks. This is next level. You know, so I would love to see those games be remade with better, much better voice acting. Oh, shucks. It is nothing charming to me about going back, doing this remake, and having these jokers purposely do bad dialogue over the game. But at that time, though, it was absolutely incredible. So we'll definitely have to see what happens if these Resident Evils do come out. Oh, hold on. You know what? I talked about that DLC. Matter of fact, almost forgot. I think that got an update. Hold on. One second. Wait a minute. I think that was actually confirmed. Yeah, here it is. Hold on. Vice.com. They actually said the Resident Evil Requiem DLC announced by Capcom, Resident Evil 9 story expansion has been confirmed. So yeah, man, shout out to Dusk Golem. He wins again. God dog. Man, he got another one right. Doggone. Well, let's see. Man, shout out to him. Let me see if I can find the information on this. Resident Evil Requiem DLC has been officially announced by Capcom. RE9 director Akifumi Nakashihi confirmed that the studio is working on an expansion that will allow players to further dive into the game's world. Let me see. Capcom has confirmed Resident Evil Requiem DLC is currently in development. The surprising announcement was made in a March 10 post on X on the publisher's Japanese social media account. In the clip posted, RE9 director keeps on skipping. Akifumi Nakanishi, pardon me if I mispronounced your name, brother. No offense. Thank fans from around the world who helped the game sell over 5 million copies in just under a week. I know that was incredible. Let me see. Nakashini then surprised fans when revealing that Resident Evil Requiem DLC is coming. The Capcom developer made the announcement by holding up a piece of paper that they on their Pragmata stuff right there. He said, quote, this is what the paper read. It said, quote, story expansion now in development, end of quote. Now, as far as what the DLC will be about plot-wise, he didn't get any additional, I guess they meant he didn't give any additional information in this regard. So let me see. Let me make sure that's about it. Okay, he said the DLC that they're making is, quote, aiming to allow players to delve even deeper into the world of Resident Evil Requiem, end of quote. It's also interesting that the story expansion, he's talking about it might follow some plots. Well, the article is saying that it might follow some plots and events of the game's main story campaign. So, yeah, so this is definitely something that is happening. Of course, again, we don't know when it's going to release. Dusk Golem, he stated that the DLC was in late development, so maybe it's at the tail end of its development cycle, and maybe we get something very, very soon. I know that it was also it was another report. I wish I wrote this stuff down. You ever see stuff in passing and think you're going to remember it, and then when it comes down to it, you kind of forget? I think they said that Capcom will be having another show sometime later on this year to make more announcements, and that's where some people thought that the next DMC would be announced, or the next Street Fighter Marvel versus Capcom, something like that could be on the docket, and we might see it at that show, which, I mean, who knows if that's going to happen or not, but that is at least the story this out on the market right now. So we'll definitely have to keep our eyes on Capcom. These jokers are winning, man. You're talking about, they got Resident Evil 9 Requiem out there. They got, they got Pragmata that's coming out, next month? And then they even got Omnimusha coming out later on this year. 3 AAA titles in 1 year is unheard of. Crazy work, man. Man, I got to say, Capcom is at the top of their game. When have we ever seen a developer drop 3 AAA games in 1 year? 3 of them. No matter how late in the gaming cycle we are. I mean, I know we're in year 6, but that is still unbelievably impressive. And that video footage of Omnimusha, that gameplay, woo, that game looks fire. So I gotta absolutely salute Capcom for what they've been doing this year. I mean, this is unheard of. Unheard of. I've never seen Naughty Dog do it. A doggone sure ain't never seen Rockstar do it. I've never seen, Ubisoft might do it. I mean, I give them some grace. But those are like yearly titles, though. Assassin's Creed is something we know is coming every year. So that's already to be expected. That's like NBA 2K doggone there. You know it's going to come out every year. But for them to have these 3 big blockbusters like this is unbelievable territory. Unbelievable. Unless you're a big powerhouse developer, as far as like having a lot of development teams like Microsoft, who has like 1 million different teams, this is unprecedented. This is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I don't even know. This year might be the first year that PlayStation actually puts out 3 titles in 1 year, because you got Wolverine, you got Soros, and man, doggone, do you have a 3rd game from them this year? Man, I don't even think so. I think, shucks. Well, anyway, I'm going to scrap that one. I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to get out of that situation because I'm losing that one. Yeah, we got to go. We got to go. Man, with that being said, yeah. Had to boogie that one on down the road. Let's get on into the next story that I got from IGN. So another leaker who's been pretty okay with leaking stuff in the past is, of course, y'all might know him as Bill Kunn. He has leaked that the PlayStation 5, he's leaked allegedly, I want to say, the PlayStation 5 Starfield release date. He said that the game is going to come out on April 7th. 2026. Now, please note that Bethesda has not confirmed this to be true or not. However, he continued to say there will be a there will be a standard edition and limited edition, and the game will be released physically, which is awesome. Here it is, yet another brand new IP from Xbox coming over to PlayStation. Man, can y'all imagine what that PSSR 2.0 is going to do to Starfield? Oh, my goodness. You know what? I can't talk too loud, though, because I don't have a PlayStation 5 Pro. So I can't talk all loud and strong, and I ain't got the money for the doggone console. So let me go ahead and let me just back away just a little bit, but I'm just saying, the PlayStation is out there making Xbox games look great again. They making them look great. Oh, man. All right, let me stop this. I'm going a little too far. I'm going to go ahead and move on into the next story because I need to stop this. I'm console worn a little bit here, brothers and sisters. Pardon me. But let's go ahead and let's get into the next story. Now, I believe I got this from IGN, but this is quick news. Now, a recent interview with IGN with Chief Creator Officer at Saber Interactive, I believe it is, Tim Willits, has said, quote, This was great news right here. I was excited about this. This brother said, quote, "Yes, it is still in development. That's all I can say." End of quote. Now, y'all might be saying, well, what the heck is in development? You never said what the game is. Brothers and sisters, Couture, Knights of the Old Republic remake is what he's talking about. And hopefully, man, oh man, hopefully this game is still coming. I think we saw this game when Wolverine was announced. What was that, 2021, 2022, somewhere around there? Don't quote me. Somewhere around that timeline. But we know that the project went dark, a little while ago, maybe about a year or two ago. I believe the project went dark. We haven't really heard too much. We've heard behind the scenes that, it's still development going on, but nothing was ever like 100% confirmed. But just the fact that the gentleman working on the project, the creator officer, Tim Willits, has said that it's still in development. We can pretty much take that to the bank. Now, granted, just because it's in development doesn't necessarily mean that a publisher could pick it up. Who knows? Well, isn't Saber? Hold on. Let me see something. Let's see if Saber Interactive is a publisher as well as a developer. I want to check that out real quick. All right. Is Saber Interactive not only a gaming developer, but are they also a publisher? Let's see what Gemini has to say about this. It says,
operates as both a developer and a publisher. While they've built their reputation over 2 decades as a developer's developer, known for high-end porting work like The Witcher 3 on Switch, and co-development on major franchises like Halo, they have significantly expanded their publishing arm in recent years. The dual role of Saber Interactive, one as a developer, Saber is a massive production powerhouse with over 15 studios worldwide.
Good gosh!
They are the primary developers behind recent hits and upcoming AAA titles, including Warhammer 40,000.
That's my joint!
World War Z.
John Wick, newly announced for 2026.
Oh, they're doing
Jurassic
John
Park
Wick.
Survival. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, still in development
there
under
it
their
is.
banner.
Okay.
2. As a publisher, Saber functions as a global publisher for both their internal projects and third-party titles.
Dang. All right, well, shoot, man. We got a chance. We got a doggone chance of seeing this game actually release. That is fantastic news. Fantastic. I'm hoping, listen, this game has been in development for a while. How amazing would it be to actually get a first look at it during the E3 season? Will it happen? Can it happen? Only time will doggone tell. But let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into, man, this was a very interesting story. Oh, shucks. Man, Nintendo, I told y'all, man, these jokers right here, you cannot play with their money because Nintendo will not be denied. And what am I talking about not being denied in money? Well, Nintendo is suing the U.S. government. Now, they filed a lawsuit on Friday, March 6, 2026, because they're demanding their money back because the president, Donald Trump, his administration back in February used the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or some people know it as IEEPA, to apply heavy taxes on imports from almost everywhere, including Vietnam and China. And you know that at one point in time, Nintendo actually switched over development of the Nintendo Switch 2 to Vietnam because they figured it would be a little bit better when it came to the tariffs. Well, it just didn't work out. Just didn't work out. But again, he put those tariffs on Vietnam and China. But the Supreme Court ruling on February 20th, 2026 said the use of these specific tariffs were unconstitutional. Now, the problem is the government hasn't automatically sent these companies their money back. Now, keep in mind, the U.S. collected, God Dog, these jokers collected around $166 billion in doggone tariffs.
Show me the money.
Dog, $166 billion in tariffs. Now they're saying, this is the government, they're saying they can't pay it back immediately due to, quote, technical limitations, end of quote. And it's going to take them at least 45 days to even get a refund system in place. So what does Nintendo, what is the thing? And what Nintendo was trying to do is not wait on a maybe, but to get a court order that will guarantee their refund plus interest for the time the government held on to their money illegally. And to be fair, I mean, this is just not Nintendo. They're not alone. It's like over 1,000 other companies that have come out to file lawsuits against the U.S. government. But all I'm saying is Nintendo said, look, we not only want you to give us our money, we're going to put in place, a court order to guarantee that you give us our money back. And you know what? Just giving us our money back isn't enough. We need doggone interest for you taking our money illegally. God, dog. These jokers said you took our money unconstitutionally, and we want our doggone money, and we want it with interest. Golly, we want our reparations. Oh, my gosh. Man, Nintendo don't give a doggone. These jokers will go after whoever, whenever. When it comes to their money, these jokers are cutthroat. Good grief. But you know what? I love it, though. I love it. Because it's one thing. Listen, I can tell y'all, and I know all of y'all, at one point in time, have had a situation where whether it was here in Baltimore, we call the electronic, not the electronic, but the gas and electric company, BG&E, where you got to pay your, gas and electric bill. But, whether it's, what is it, Bell South, I think like further down, like in North Carolina or South Carolina, Bell South, whatever the case may be, with the power company. I'm sure all of you have had a moment in time or any other bill where you overpaid and they're like, well, we understand, yes, you have a surplus. And yes, you did pay your bill and you had extra. But what we're going to do is instead of giving you your money back, we're going to just roll it on over to your doggone other bill. Man, you got to be kidding me. I want my doggone money. I want my money. I don't want you to roll it over to another bill. What if I don't even make it to next month to pay you the doggone next bill? What if I ain't got that much time left? I want my doggone $85. I want the $85 that I paid you extra. That stuff burns me up. Oh, man, it makes me so upset because I'm like, doggone, you robbing me. You pretty much robbing me. And here it is, the U.S. government. They said, look, man, look. We had a lot of money coming in, $166 billion. There's no way. We got a system in place to give you guys back this refund. You got to give us time. You got to give us time to get a system in place and make sure that we're hiring the right IT people and all of this stuff. My thing is, it didn't take all of this for you to take the doggone money. $166 billion, y'all was able to take that right away. But when it comes to paying the money back, all of a sudden it's a problem. It's all of these barriers in place, all of these excuses as to why you can't do it. Oh, man, that stuff really, really burns me up. So listen, again, this was unconstitutional. So Nintendo is not outside of their wheelhouse. And what they're asking for, they just want you to give them back their money that you took from them unconstitutionally. I probably wasn't even the right word, but it was unconstitutional. So give them back their money with interest and everybody can move on. It just always bothers me that it's always a situation, like I said, it's so easy to give the money, but when it's time for them to give you what they owe you, it's always a problem. Even with insurance, you pay for insurance for 800 years and never use it. But the one time you use it, oh man, we got to raise your rates. Your rates got to go up. We're not going to give you all of the compensation that we're supposed to. We're going to try to nickel and dime you, to give you the bare minimum just so we can save money. And I understand that that's business, but hold on. It is a difference between good business and bad business. And here it is. You've built up all of this rapport. You've never been in trouble, never called them for anything, could literally have nothing happen over a 35 to 40 year period. And all of a sudden you need their help one time and it's a huge problem, but they've been taking your money for decades without giving you anything in return except for this so-called protection, which we know that has loopholes all the way through all of those policies. They never want to give you what they owe. So from that standpoint, God dog it, so shoot, Nintendo, I doggone salute you for standing up for yourself. God dog. And with that being said, let's go ahead and let's get into the next story, which again, man, these companies right here, every single chance they get, they will try to take advantage. And y'all know I'm a PlayStation fan, but these jokers ain't above reproach when it's necessary. So I got this story from Vice.com. Now, PlayStation has admitted, these jokers got caught, so they had to admit it, but they admitted to testing dynamic PS5 game pricing. You might wonder, what the heck is dynamic pricing? Well, pretty much it means that some gamers will pay more for the same game. That's right. They're going to make it so this person may pay this amount and this other gamer may pay a totally different amount.
Show me the money.
Man. So let's get into this a little bit more deeper. So PlayStation said, quote, since November 2025, Sony has been A/B testing prices in the PlayStation Store. Over 3 months, the experiment grew from 50 games in 30 regions to over 150 games in 68 regions, and now includes Sony's own AAA. Now, the way PlayStation seems to be framing it is they're implementing these prices based off of player demand. So Sony said this. They said, and I quote, some PlayStation Store users see experimental prices that are significantly lower than the standard retail price. This is a controlled A/B test by Sony to study the price elasticity of demand. Users are randomly placed in control or test groups and see different prices for the same games. So they're saying that they're doing this pretty much on purpose for data purposes. This is what y'all are doing this for.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Man, these jokers are trying to rob. These jokers think they slick. It was a situation. Now, I didn't write this down. Y'all know I'm always saying I see stuff and I don't write it down. Knowing my memory, you would think that I would write this stuff. But essentially, it was this gentleman. He was on Reddit. And I remember he said he saw, I believe it was Red Dead Redemption. I don't know if it was the first one or the second one. I'm not sure, but I believe it was Red Dead Redemption. He said he saw it for a certain price on his screen. And his girlfriend at the time, or she may still be, or they might even be married, she saw it on her screen for a totally different price. And he was like, oh, wait a minute. Wait. What is going on? So he actually went on Reddit and talked about it. Now, I believe that this was sometime, God dog, don't quote me on it. I think it was sometime in 2024, maybe earlier in 2025. And I don't want to ask Gemini because I don't want to, make this longer than what it has to be. But pretty much, he actually put it up there. So Sony had already been exposed. Now, granted, they did come out and they said, yeah, we admit it. Yeah, we're doing this. But it's just because we're trying to test, certain games in certain areas to see how much of a demand this game has with this price point versus that price point. And I'm like, nah. I just don't think that, and granted, some people will get it cheaper. And again, some people will have to pay more, but I don't think that should be the case. Matter of fact, wasn't it a case over in the UK a couple of months ago? They said that PlayStation was doing this over there, and it was rampant, where people were getting tired. They're like, God dog, we're getting charged way more than everybody else. This isn't fair. This isn't right. And so they had actually sued Sony for that. So again, I'm more of a person like, look, I don't like these kind of games. I don't like these situations where you're trying to charge somebody more and then charge somebody less. I have a real problem with that. I really do. And I have a problem with it because, and I understand this is gaming, and gaming is fun. It's a hobby. It's the greatest hobby ever, if you ask me. But that stuff kind of, it gets on my nerves to a certain degree. And this is not to get too serious, but when you have a situation where you see on the market, just because you're African American and you own a home, they automatically, in some cases, value your home as less than somebody else who's of a different race, a different color. They value their home to be greater than yours, and it's solely based off of race. Has nothing to do with the actual home itself, but because you're the color you are and they're the color they are, it's like, oh, well, their house is a little bit more, and yeah, because you are this color, and it could be in this neighborhood. Now, granted, neighborhoods are one thing. That's totally understandable. But if you're in the same neighborhood and your neighbor is getting a better price on their home than yours and they are identical, that's a real problem. If we're going to be fair and the system is supposed to be fair, let's make it fair across the board. And that's the thing about this PlayStation situation. It's not fair. If the price of the game is what the price of the game is, then keep it that price. And if it's going to be on sale, then let it be on sale. But don't act like you're going through all of these semantics. Oh, we're just trying to see how it's going to react in this market at this price or that price. Just say it's a sale then. You can do the same thing, get the same data if you just say, look, it's going to be a sale. That's all. That's it. Hopefully, this situation gets under control because, again, the UK, from what I understand, they were getting beat over the head with this. And if nobody says anything, nobody exposes it, for what it is, then this is how unfair practices start. So we'll see what happens with this situation, and we'll take it from there. But, Sony, come on, man. You got to tighten up. I'm a huge fan of what y'all do. Y'all have some of the greatest games ever. But I just can't buy into this situation of dynamic pricing and we're doing it because of this area versus that area. Come on, man. Just let me know. Even if you let me know it's a test, that's even different. But just to throw it on somebody like that underhandedly, I just got a problem with that. But we'll see what happens with this. We'll see what the outcome is going to be. Matter of fact, hold on. You know what? I don't want to say things and be wrong. Let me look up something just to see if Sony maybe told people that this is what they were doing. I know that PlayStation has admitted that they're doing dynamic game pricing, but at any time did PlayStation actually admit that this is something they were going to be doing to let the customer know that this was a test? I said a lot. It's probably going to take a minute for it to get all of that.
Actually, no. Sony has not made an official announcement to customers that this was a test. The discovery of dynamic pricing, or A/B testing, came from third-party price trackers and Observant users, rather than an official press release or transparency notice from PlayStation. Here is the breakdown of how this came to light and the current state of the test, how it was exposed. Instead of an admission, the practice was caught by the tracking site PS Prices in late 2025 and early 2026. They detected specific experiment identifiers in the PlayStation API, such as IPT_pilot, IPT_OPR_testing, IPT_LTM. These tags prove that Sony was back-end testing different prices for the same game across different user groups to see how people would react to specific price points. Demand elasticity. Key fact.
All right, so yeah, it looks like they never let it be known that this was something they were doing, to the customer base, and they just got caught out there. Again, who caught them? He said who caught them. Let me see. Actually, no. Third-party price trackers, PlayStation. The practice was caught by the tracking site PS Prices in late 2025, early 2026. Okay, so yeah. So if you're not letting somebody know what you're doing, and when it comes to prices, man, that's almost like a robbery. Well, okay, robbery might be a little too far, but y'all get what I'm saying. If somebody else is paying one price and you are purposely setting me up to pay more, then how is that even fair? Just say it's on sale, But anyway, I've wasted, I'm not going to say waste, because I do enjoy seeing or hearing about this other side of the gaming business, because it does show that, again, these companies are not our friends. Doesn't matter how much you champion a brand, doesn't matter how much you love a brand, they are in this for one thing and one thing only. To get your money. Now, y'all know me. I'm not a person that feels like you're robbing me because you're trying to get money out of me. No. If you give me a game or a console that I enjoy and I want to buy and I actually love it and appreciate it, then it's a fair trade. It is not a robbery. But again, when you're doing these kind of practices, I got to look at you side-eye and wonder, how much longer would you have done this if you could have? But anyway, let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story. Now, this is random, but Push Square did a poll where, and I was just talking about PlayStation, still a fan, don't enjoy what they're doing, but, nonetheless, I'll move forward. But, this has to do with them, because 71% of the people thought PlayStation was making the right move, taking their games off PC. Now, 22% thought it was a bad decision, and 7% weren't sure. Now, keep in mind, because I like to keep things in perspective, keep in mind that this poll was around, Push Square had this poll coming in at 1,558 participants. So we're not talking about hundreds of thousands or even tens of thousands of people. But I still found it interesting that 71% of people said, yeah, PlayStation, you're making the right moves. Take them games off of PC. Keep them on PlayStation. Stop giving away your exclusives. And I got to say that after hearing the news about this, what is it called? The Project Helix over on Xbox's side. This thing being a console hybrid PC kind of experience. I think PlayStation might have been like, wait a minute, now hold on. So if we continue to put these games on PC, that means that essentially these Xbox fans, they're going to be able to play our games, which means our numbers could drop. Now, I don't know how drastic they would drop. We're talking about this console bare minimum, possibly, according to reports, nothing confirmed, but they're talking about it could be $1,000. Now, I don't know how much that would affect the sales of people going out and getting a PS6. I don't think it would have any effect, but PlayStation is probably like, nah, I don't even want to give them an inch. I don't even want to give them the idea that these games are going to continue to go over there, just in case this thing might snowball. So I am, again, still in agreement with PlayStation's with their decision of putting their games strictly on their console. I appreciate that because also they can just, how can I say this, man? They can just concentrate on their platform. And I understand that they had, what was the team? The team that was also working on the games, the PC versions of the game. God, dog, I can't think of their name right now. But I didn't know, the thing I didn't know, that even though they were working on the game for the PC, doggone, I wish I could remember their name. The team, whether it was Naughty Dog or Sony Santa Monica, they would also be working on the game as well. So you are kind of taking hands off of having the development on your own console continue to move forward, and you're taking a little bit of time off to, make sure that you got your game running on the PC. Man, what is the name of it? I got to figure out their name. I'm not going to be able to let this go. Nexus. It's Nexus, right? What is the name of the PlayStation PC port studio? I think it's Nexus.
The studio you're thinking of is Nixxes Software, based in the Netherlands.
There we go. Yeah, Nixxes. So even though they were working on the games, it was still a situation where they would have to have some assistance from the other companies. Well, not companies, the other developers, Naughty Dog, whoever, Sony Bend. They would also have to come out there and help them. Now, again, I don't know if it was the whole team or the half of the team or a quarter of the team. But the fact of the matter is they had to pull some hands off deck to help them with the port. And why put that much effort into a platform that is not your platform? So I'm, again, very, very happy about this. And for me, this is the thing. For me, it's always about competition. It's about the games, and it's about competition, which to me makes the games better. When you start cross-contaminating and giving other platforms your games, you're taking away the competitive edge to it. Why try to go up against an Uncharted when Uncharted is just on your platform? Why try to go up against God of War if God of War is on your platform? Gears of War, why try to have a Gears of War killer? That's the thing that I loved about gaming back in 2005, 2000. Something was always trying to be the killer of that one specific franchise. Killzone was supposed to be the Halo killer. That's the thing that I feel is missing to a certain degree, and that's why I'm glad that Nintendo, they always held firm. Those jokers right there. The crazy thing is, God dog, people are wild. Gamers are crazy at times because they will hold Sony to a certain standard of, why would you take your games off of PC, and I understand they were there. So, of course, they're going to say, why, would you take your games off of PC? Everybody should play games equally. I should be able to play your games on the platform that I want to play them on. But when you see Nintendo, nobody talks about Nintendo bringing their games to anybody's platform. Nintendo was out there. You'd never, ever hear anybody talking about, man, I sure wish Mario was going to come to doggone PlayStation or Xbox. It doesn't even register in the brain to even think that Nintendo was going to do that. But yet people think that PlayStation should do the same. And let's not forget, Nintendo, years ago, they tried mobile. They gave it a shot. And they were like, yeah, this ain't working. This ain't working, man. Let's just go back to what we know. And you never heard anybody ever say anything about it. Never. Nintendo, listen, man. Sony, PlayStation is my preferred platform. It used to be Xbox. It's definitely PlayStation now. But I got to say, man, I truly believe that Nintendo, man, these jokers got to be the bully on the gaming block right now. These jokers ain't moving. They ain't moving. They said, look, man, if you want to play these games if you want to play these games, then you got to come over here. If not, it's get down or lay down. Nintendo is busting clips off on your gaming block and saying, do something about it. We here, and we gonna be here. If you want to get down, then you come over here to Nintendo. Come to doggone death row. Nintendo is crazy, man. God, dog. And a gaming bully, man. These jokers got it where gamers don't even say anything about Nintendo keeping all their games exclusive. You know what they say? Ah, man, you know how Nintendo is. Y'all know Nintendo be bugging, man. You know they ain't gonna give us nothing. Stuff is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Nintendo gets away with gaming. Man, gaming murder, man. These jokers are something else. Golly, man. Nintendo might be the real gangster in the room. Dog. I got to respect it, man. But listen, I know we getting a little long in the tooth here, so let me go ahead and let's get to these last. I think I got like 2 more stories left. This next story is just more of an update. For some of y'all that may be familiar with the game called Mouse P.I. for Hire. Now, this game looks so dope. It puts me in the mindset of, I'm sure y'all have seen it before. It reminds me of Cuphead, like the art style to a certain degree, but it's in black and white, and it's a first-person shooter. I believe, it has like a 1940s, kind of like 1950s art style to it. Yeah, it looks good, man. Just look it up. Mouse P.I. for Hire. Well, this game, I've been keeping my eye on this game for a little bit of time now. And finally, they actually said that the game is going to release on April 16th, 2026. So this is one of those games, yet again, man, gaming this year is so crazy. It is bananas. I mean, the amount of games, like I said, Capcom is already on a huge tear with Resident Evil, Pragmata, and Onimusha coming out all in the same year. Then we got Wolverine. Oh, man, pardon me. We got Wolverine. We got, the biggest game possibly of the generation coming out. Grand Theft Auto 6. We've had Reanimal come out already, which, oh, man, come on. I mean, this year is nuts. Absolutely incredible with the amount of games that are coming out. We're only 3 months in. 3 months in, and it has not been a gaming drought. unbelievable. 2026 is really shaping up to be one of those years. I'm telling you, even again, outside of Grand Theft Auto 6, even if GTA 6 wasn't coming, it would still be an amazing year. Sorrows is coming out next month. Oh man, just unbelievable. But let me go ahead and let's get into the final story. And I got this story from The Gamer. So we talked about Resident Evil. You know, the director, if you weren't aware, the director behind the original Resident Evil, which we talked about Resident Evil 4. He was also behind that game, and this guy was also behind Hi-Fi Rush. If you don't know his name, he's a legend. His name is Shinji Mikami. He has announced Unbound, a quote, fully independent company developing high-end consumer games, creating original AAA titles, end of quote. Now, this guy, he has his own studio and everything seems good. Now, usually, man, I would be excited about this, but it's been so many all-star developers that have started their own studio and it failed. I mean, let's not forget. This is the thing. This is the interesting thing about Mr. Mikami. This is going to be his second attempt at having a studio. Let's not forget Tango Gameworks actually shut down. And he's starting over again with this company. We've seen Cliff Bleszinski. He started Boss Key, coming from Epic. Great developer. Got the Boss Key, and it just didn't work. We had the guy that was behind Dead Space. Oh, man, what was his name? Doggone. All right, for the sake of time, I won't look him up, but y'all know the guy I'm talking about. He had started his own company, and the name of the game that he developed, it was Dead Space-esque. Oh my gosh, man, I'm sorry, I gotta look it up. God, dog, I gotta look this guy up. Who was the original creator of Dead Space that went off on his own to start his own studio, and what was the name of the game that he developed? Because it's going to bug me if I don't.
The original creator you're looking for is Glenn Schofield.
Yeah.
After his success with the original Dead Space, 2008, at EA Redwood Shores, later Visceral Games, and a long stint co-founding Sledgehammer Games, Call of Duty, he went off to form his own independent studio under the publisher Krafton. The studio
right.
And the game. Studio name, Striking Distance Studios.
The Callisto Protocol.
Game name.
That's all we needed to know. The Callisto Protocol, that was supposed to be a spiritual successor, I believe, to Dead Space. And we saw, unfortunately, how that went. And if I'm not mistaken, let me see. It says Striking Distance Studios still exists and is currently working on a smaller scale spinoff set in the same universe, currently titled Project Bird's Eye. So we see that the gentleman, he went off on his own as well, started his own studio, even tried to make a successor to Dead Space, and it just didn't work out. So, again, I want to be excited for Mr. Man, God dog it. I want to be excited for Mr. Shinji Mikami, but the track record for these guys gets very, very spotty once they leave. Even Mind's Eye, the guy that used to work at Rockstar, he started his own company, and them jokers closed down as soon as Mind's Eye came out. So you got that situation going on as well. It's tough. It's tough. So at one point in time, I would have been very excited. Man, we're going to have a lot of great games that are going to come out from this guy. It's going to be amazing. But I am very, very skeptical about what he's going to be able to do. Hi-Fi Rush, people said was a great game, and it still didn't save his studio. God darn it. God dog. So, it's a cold game out here. But anyway, that is the end of the gaming news this week. And I tell y'all one thing. I want to thank each and every last one of you guys for being here. Your support means everything. So thank you guys so much. So with that being said, guys, man, this was something else. This episode, it's just always just appreciate it, that you guys show up. You always give me the gas. You give me the fuel to get through, to want to get on the microphone and talk about this thing that we love called gaming. And I look forward to it every single week. So with that being said, before we get on out of here and put that bow on this episode, always remember one thing. It is not about the consoles. It is about the games. So until next week when we do it again, until then, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.